of the 49ers kind is 49ers beat reporter of the San Jose Mercury News, Cam Inman. Cam, welcome to BYU Sports Nation.
Thanks for having me. I'm in my car on the way to 49ers rookie mini camp right now, so hopefully I don't lose you, but everything's going great.
Let's go. We'll trust in the Deseret First Credit Union hotline to keep it real for us. Okay, Cam, Fred Warner, a lot of excitement for BYU fans that he's going to the Bay Area and as a third-round draft pick to a team that has kind of been BYU fans have a love affair with the 49ers because of Steve Young. So for Fred Warner to go back there, it's exciting. What are the expectations for him in year number one?
Yeah, he's coming in as a third-round draft pick. They've had some really good third-round linebackers over the years. Guys like Navarro Bowman, Bill Romanowski was once upon a time. He's joining a team that's really on the rise, and it didn't look that way at the start of last season when they started 0-9 under Kyle Shanahan. Then they got a quarterback named Jimmy Garoppolo, who was the best thing to come around with the Niners since Steve Young. And all of a sudden, everybody's on the uptick with the Niners. And he's joining a defense that needs linebacker depth. They might need a linebacker starter because Reuben Foster, first-round pick a year ago, is in some legal hot water over a couple off-season arrests, including one for alleged domestic violence and gun possession. So he's likely going to be suspended for some part of this coming season, which could press Fred into action a little bit earlier than anybody was expecting. So we got our first look at Fred yesterday in the media room, and very impressive guy. Looking forward to seeing him on the field and seeing what he can do, because he's not your typical stout, short, middle linebacker that's going to plug in there. He looks like a guy that's going to run, very athletic and very smart.
At 6'4", 236, he's a unique body type, as you mentioned, for middle linebacker. And we were talking about it. He played outside linebacker his entire career here at BYU. And then during the Senior Bowl,
right,
he gets moved to middle linebacker, and now he's got a shot there. So what kind of expectations are there for Fred playing at a kind of a different position, if you will?
Yeah, and they've said that they're going to put him at one of the two inside linebacker spots that they have. I think they might actually move him around a little bit more than just that. This is a defensive coordinator that likes to really get creative. He did that last year with safety Eric Reed, and he brought him in as he moved into linebacker at some points. So he's going to probably get Fred in certain packages where he can match up well against a tight end or a slot receiver, because he was able to do that at BYU, and maybe do that a little bit better than a Malcolm Smith, who's a little bit older. And it depends if Reuben's available or not, but he's definitely a guy that they seem to like a lot. And it's encouraging, because if the 49ers were desperate for somebody to come in and play right away, they probably would have used their first-round pick on a linebacker and cut ties with Reuben Foster. The fact that they didn't cut ties with Reuben and were able to get Fred in the third round, I think it works out really well for them, because it gives them depth, gives him time to mature into a defense, and gives them time to figure out how to best utilize him.
Talking with Cam Inman, 49ers beat reporter. Let's say that Reuben Foster gets through this legal hot water and is playing and a regular contributor. How much will that affect what Fred Warner is going to do for the 49ers in his first year?
Yeah, if that's the case, then I would expect Fred just to come in on situational plays, maybe on passing downs only, like on a third down play or something like that. But he'd also have to contribute a lot on special teams, because if you're a linebacker and you're not in the starting lineup, you're going to be a mainstay on special teams. And they've really addressed their defense a lot over the last 5 years in terms of building it back up after, they were in the Super Bowl with a great defense. The window closed. They said goodbye to a lot of those defenders, and they've been just rebuilding it. And then last year in free agency, the guy that they spent the most on was Malcolm Smith, who's bounced from the Seahawks to the Raiders, but he knows this defensive scheme really well. Well, if Fred comes along nicely, then Malcolm Smith might become expendable next year, where they don't have to pay his high salary and can just pair Fred in with Reuben Foster as your two middle linebackers for the future.
Cam, in your article, you talked about kind of the new age linebackers and the ability for Fred Warner maybe to be versatile, as we've discussed. And John Lynch mentioned, a comparison with Bobby Wagner. I don't think Fred Warner's anything like Bobby Wagner. Wagner's 5'11", 245. Warner's kind of different. Why do you think there was a comparison to Bobby Wagner?
Because they were probably just trying to give him a compliment that he's a Pro Bowl potential guy.
That's a good compliment.
A linebacker position. Yeah, it is. But you're right. I mean, one thing I liked about Jim Harbaugh when he was coach of the Niners was he hated any kind of comp or comparisons to guys because everybody's unique and different. And obviously, Fred's coming in unique. If he's this tall and is going to play middle linebacker, that's a different kind of look. And that's why, we talk about some of these linebackers. They want them to be quicker and rangy because the NFL is so pass-oriented now. And if he's able to handle some of those pass coverage duties, that's going to really bode well for their defense. And it's, the league is such a pass-oriented league that's why you're seeing quarterbacks make so much money. And defenses have to find a way to scheme up against it. So I think that's one reason the Niners are really excited just to have this extra option in their attack.
49ers beat reporter for the San Jose Mercury News, Cam Inman, with us on BYU Sports Nation. You are headed to a mini camp for the rookies. What storylines are you looking to cover over this 48-hour period?
Yeah, these rookie mini camps are kind of tricky because you have guys out there trying out, fighting for jobs. You have draft picks that are just kind of, getting the lay of the land. They have a new right tackle in Mike McGlinchey that they used a number 9 pick overall on. I really liked him. I was one of the few guys that predicted they would take McGlinchey, and I did it just because it's simple. They needed to make sure that Jimmy Garoppolo is protected. And the guy that they had there last couple of years in Trent Brown was, I don't know if they were sold on him or if he was sold on what it takes to be a pro. And so he was coming off shoulder surgery. And I figured, hey, why not get the best tackle on the board tonight if that's available? So they did that with McGlinchey, who's a big guy, 6'8", 300-something pounds. But he can move a lot better than Trent Brown, so he's going to help the running game. And then, they also picked up Dante Pettis in the second round. He's a wide receiver / punt returner. You saw him against BYU. Maybe we played for Washington. Guy returned 9 punts for touchdowns. And I asked him yesterday, do you want to come into the league just becoming the best punt returner in the NFL, or do you just want to be another wide receiver? And he says, I don't look at myself as a punt returner. I look at myself as a receiver. And I'm like, okay, I understand that, but if he's going to make an impact as a rookie year, it's going to be as a punt returner because he has dynamic capabilities. So I want to see his speed on the field. I want to see some of the undrafted guys that came in, because there's usually one or two that really surprise you. Injuries maybe open the door for them to make the team, and it's still a team that needs depth. So there's spots to be won on the team, and I like coming to these rookie mini camps and kind of getting the feel, see who's the hungriest out there, which guys don't seem quite ready or seem entitled to it. So it's kind of one way to gauge it before we really get going in off-season workouts and by the time training camp comes around in late July.
Cam, we'll let you get back to the road, focusing on that and getting to that mini camp. But before we go, just answer me this. True or false, Fred Warner will be playing in the NFL playoffs in his rookie season?
Oh, that's a great question. I'll say yes, because I think the Niners are going to have everybody's projecting them to have a great year. I think the one reason they're going to is because Levi's Stadium is finally going to be a home field advantage for the first time, 5 years, because they play a lot of bad teams at home that have new coaches. So I think that's one way, that's the path that they're going to get to the playoffs.
Great stuff, Cam. In Jimmy GQ, the 49ers trust.
All right, thanks so much.
You got it. Cam Inman on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.